All right, hello everybody, this is John Hansen with the Florida Physique Report, episode number 7. Today is Thursday, August 28, 2014, and on today's show we're going to talk about the NPC Lakeland Classic, which took place last weekend on August 23rd. We're going to give you the results and the rundown and what happened there. We're also going to talk a little bit about the IFBB North America, which is taking place actually starting today on Thursday the 28th. It's a 3-day show. They're doing a Masters Pro event, which is only for NPC athletes who got their pro card competing in an NPC Masters show, and this is specifically for them. So they won't have to go up against seasoned Masters competitors like Dexter Jackson, Tony Freeman. All these competitors will have a chance. This is the first time they've ever done anything like this. Promoter Gary Udit is promoting this show for the first time. So we'll see how that goes. That actually took place today, so we'll have the results from that. Quite a few athletes from the Florida area went into that contest and competed, so we'll see how they do. We've also got a couple training videos to talk about. Some new training videos this week. We've got 3 new training videos, so we'll talk about those. We've got our interview of the week is Devon Manny. Devon is competing this weekend at the North America. She won the overall at the Beachbodies Classic and the Dexter Jackson. I've said before on the show, I think she's got great potential as a figure competitor. I think she's going to be a future pro for sure. She has a really good chance to get her pro card this weekend at the North America. If she doesn't get it there, I'm pretty sure she'll get it at the NPC Nationals in November in Miami. So we got a chance to sit down to talk to Devon a little bit. She did a training video with us, and we talked a little bit about her background and how she got into training. So we got an interview of the week with her. We're also going to talk about the upcoming September contest. We got another big month for Florida bodybuilding here in the NPC, so we're going to talk about all the competitions coming up in September. So let's start off talking about the Lakeland Classic. I believe this was the 14th annual Lakeland Classic promoted by Debbie Callahan in Lakeland, Florida. I was there last weekend on August 23rd. Not a really big show. They only had about 50 competitors. The last 3 weeks out here in the Florida area have been really, really big with the Dexter Jackson Classic, and then of course the Tampa Pro Show and the Tim Gardner Extravaganza all on the same weekend. And then last weekend we had the Florida State. So the Lakeland Classic was almost sort of an off week, but it was good because we got to see a lot of new competitors, some competitors competing for the very first time, a lot of new competitors who won their classes, so we got to see some upcoming talent. Also some veterans, some people that have been around for a while, they returned to the stage. So let's talk about the results from that first. It started off, of course, with the Masters Men's Bodybuilding. Bill Long, who has been competing in the Florida area for quite a while, 68 years old. He won the over 60 division. The over 50 division was 2 classes, lightweight and heavyweight. The lightweight was won by John Hildebrand. Frank Sapienza, 52 years old. We've had Frank, we've talked about Frank on the Florida Physique Report before. He just won the overall at the Ancient City Classic a couple months ago. He went into this contest, went into the over 50 and won the heavyweights. Then he went into the over 40 and he won that division also. For the overall, of course, Frank Sapienza won the overall Masters Men's Bodybuilding. The teen bodybuilding was won by James Schatt. Masters Figure over 50 was won by Rosa Alvarez in the short class, and Patty Switzer won the Masters 50 in the tall class, and then Patty won the overall. The over 40, Megali Probst won the short class, and Jennifer Koladzui won the tall class, and then Jennifer won the overall there. Jennifer had a big cheering section. She brought a lot of her friends and family. In the over 30 figure, Masters figure, Tina Thompson won the short class, and Megan Hyatt, who was competing in her very first show, won the tall class and the overall. Masters Men's Physique went to Anthony Van Dyne. Women's Physique, only one competitor in this show, Nicolette Burton. Masters Bikini over 30 went to Jessica Geen. Figure Open was won by Megali Probst in the short class, and Megan Hyatt, who won the Masters, won the overall again in the Figure Open. This was Megan's very first show, and I think out of all the figure competitors, she was the most conditioned and the most prepared. So congratulations to Megan. Won 2 overalls on her very first time competing. So she's very excited. I'm sure she'll be back in the competition soon. In the Bikini Open, Noelle Stewart won the short class, and Jessica Geen, who also won the over 30, she won the open also, and then Jessica won the overall. So congratulations to Jessica, 2 overall victories in one night. Men's physique, Quams Else, A-L-C-E, Quams Else won the short class, and then Jason Lancaster, who trains right here at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, Florida. Jason's only 20 years old. He just turned 20 this year. Very good potential in this young man. He's got the look. He's got the look for men's physique. Got a really good physique. So congratulations to Jason. This was his 3rd contest. He just started competing this year, and he finally got an overall. So he's on his way, and he was very happy to get that overall win. And then the night finished off with the men's open bodybuilding. William Power won the lightweight class. Matt Ammon won the middleweight class. Matt was very thick. Good physique on Matt. And then Frank Sapienza won the light heavyweight, and of course Frank again won the overall. So 52-year-old Frank Sapienza, we did a really good interview with him. That is up right now on FloridaPhysique.com, so check that out. He talks a lot about his training, his diet, and I think Frank's going in a couple more shows this year. So he's going to be at the Gainesville, which I think he'll be in 3 more weeks on September 20th, and he's going to be in a few more shows this year. So look for Frank to compete. He's doing really, really well. All right, let's talk about some of the shows coming up in September. September is going to be a busy month here for the NPC bodybuilding in the Florida area. We start off on September 6th with the Royal Palm Classic, which will be held in Fort Myers, Florida. Kelvin Choi is the promoter, and he's going to have Lee Banks as a guest poser, so that'll be a good show. That'll be in 2 more weeks, next weekend on September 6th. On September 13th, Mark Antonek is holding his St. Pete Muscle Classic. I don't know how many years Mark has been doing this. I think this is like his 3rd year. He had a really big show last year, so we're looking forward to that. Janine Lankowski, who we just did a video here on FloridaPhysique.com, women's bodybuilder who just competed in the Tampa Pro. Janine will be guest posing at that show. On September 20th, which is actually the weekend of the Mr. Olympia out in Vegas, but if you're not going to Vegas, there will be a show out here in Florida, in Gainesville, Florida. Tony Curtis is putting on the Gainesville Classic, which will be September 20th, of course, in Gainesville. And then to finish off the month, we have 2 shows on the 27th. We have the Ruby Championships taking place in Boca Raton on September 27th. Andreas Miller is the promoter there. And on the same day, we've got the Daytona Beach Classic, promoted by Mike Matassa and Tony Curtis, and that'll be in Daytona Beach, Florida. All right, as I mentioned before at the beginning of the show, we've got a couple really good videos coming up on FloridaPhysique.com this week. We've got Michael Cavanaugh, who is a men's physique competitor, and he is competing this weekend at the North America. He's got a really good physique. He's been competing in men's physique now for 2 years. He did a shoulder workout for us, so we had a good chance to talk to him for quite a while. And then Devon Manny, who is competing in the Figure Open. Like I said, Devon has got a great potential, and she did a really, really tough leg workout. Of course, the carbs are low at this point. She was 1 week out from her show, and her trainer, Eric Differ from Freak Physique, really pushed her. Devon had to run to the bathroom a few times to lose it. So I think Devon and Mike were both coming out to the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa and filming those videos for us. I know it's tough 1 week out to really push themselves like that. And then we've got another training video with Stephanie Noriega, who is a figure competitor, just started competing, I believe, this year, and she did the Tim Gardner extravaganza, and we've got a back and leg training video with her. So check out all those videos this week on FloridaPhysique.com. All right, let's go over the IFBB North America. Like I said, this show is happening this weekend. It's a 3-day event, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But since today is Thursday, August 28th, they did the Masters Pro event. And like I said, this is a little different than some of the Masters Pro events they've held in the past. This one was just for NPC competitors who got their pro cards competing in NPC Master shows. So it sort of gives the new pro bodybuilders and pro figure competitors and pro bikini competitors and pro physique competitors, it gives them a chance to compete with their own peers instead of going up against seasoned veterans like Dexter Jackson, Darren Charles, Tony Freeman, where they really have no chance. So let's go over some of the Florida athletes that were competing today on the Masters Pro event. Of course, there's going to be a lot of other Florida athletes competing this weekend in the North America itself. So we'll report on that on FloridaPhysique.com this weekend. If you want to check out how those Florida athletes did, go to FloridaPhysique.com on Friday and Saturday and Sunday and check that out. But I just want to mention some of the athletes that were competing. In the men's bodybuilding, they had an over 50 division. David Marinelli was competing, and also Lee Apperson, both Florida athletes. And then in the over 60 division, David Marinelli also competed in that, along with Robert Bassett. In the women's bodybuilding over 35, Beth Wachter competed in that, and Beth also did the over 45 division. In the women's physique over 35, Rocio Guillen competed and took second place. So congratulations to Rocio. It almost looked like she was going to pull off a victory, but she got beat by Teresita Morales, who is a seasoned competitor, also always competes in the open women's physique. So Rocio did very good in that, taking second place. In the over 45 women's physique, Rocio Guillen was also competing in that, and Vicky Nixon was competing. And it looks like they were going to be first and second. Rocio took first, and Vicky took second. In the men's physique, over 35 division, Travalis Blount from Florida competed and took second place. So congratulations to Travalis in that. He took second in a pro contest. In the over 40 division and Masters men's physique, Michael Barnt was competing along with Jim Holcomb. Then we go to the bikini. In the Masters bikini over 35, we had a few competitors from the Florida area, Catherine Radulik and Mary Dent. Catherine Radulik did very well. She was called out in the very first call out. In the over 35 Masters bikini, the over 45 Masters bikini, Kate Cerisi and Mary Dent were both competing. Mary Dent took second place and Kat Cerisi took third place. So congratulations to them. The Masters figure over 35, Melissa Smith was competing. And then in the over 45 division, Melissa Smith was also competing that along with Holly Beck. Holly Beck got first call out. And then in the over 55 Masters figure, Christine Wilkes was competing in that. So I just wanted to mention those Florida athletes who are competing today at the Masters Pro event at the IFBB North America. This is, like I said, this is a new event held by Gary Udit. So we are going to take a break, and when we come back with the Florida Physique Report, you're going to be joined with Devon Manning, who is competing this weekend in the Figure Open division at the IFBB North America, and she's got a really good chance to do well and get her pro card. So we're going to talk to Devon about how she got started in competing, how she got started lifting weights, a little bit about her background. So stay with us. We'll be right back with the Florida Physique Report. All right, this is John Hansen for FloridaPhysique.com. We are in the gym training with Devon Manning, figure competitor who is competing in the IFBB North America next weekend. How you feeling, Devon?
Feeling great. I'm excited.
So now this was your first year competing as a figure competitor, and you started off, you did the Europa, you placed like in the middle of the pack, started working with Eric and Kelly at Team Freak Physique, and they really figured out your physique, and you started to really peak for shows. And then you did the, you did the Beachbodies Classic. You won the overall there. You went to the Dexter Jackson Classic, which is a big national qualifying show. Won the overall there. Now you're going into the IFBB North America. How you feeling as far as your prep goes?
I feel great. I feel better than ever.
So how do you feel about competing in figure? This is your first year doing it. So how's been the experience overall?
It's been great. Like, better than ever. My main goal is just to progress from each show. And I feel like I've definitely, from the Beachbodies, progressed a little bit, just even in that week with conditioning and leanness, hardness and drying out. And then same thing, I feel like I'm going to come in just a little bit better even for North Americans, which is all I can really ask for, is just keep improving, right?
Now, were you an athlete before you got into figure competition?
No, I did sports here and there up until I got into high school, really. But nothing serious. And from high school on until my second year of college, I never worked out. I never did anything athletic. I just, somehow when I started working out, it just took off from there. I realized I apparently had better genetics than I thought I did. And
what got you into weight training?
I decided to make a lifestyle change. I was eating unhealthy, partying, got to college, and just it was more of my way of gaining control and getting myself back on a better path. I really just wanted to do it to get in shape. And when I started realizing how much progress I was seeing and thinking about competing, that's when I really started playing with the thought of that and going further with it.
So that had to be a big lifestyle change, going from just partying and doing all that, and then going into a regimented where you're eating certain foods at certain times, and training.
Absolutely, it's I mean, complete 180. Like, and then I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I even did that. Like, I get off like 30 minutes from my meal time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole day's ruined.
It seems like a lot of people who are into the bodybuilding and fitness industry, they like that. They like the regimentation. They like eating certain meals at certain times. They like knowing what they're going to eat and knowing what they're going to train.
Definitely. It's just when everything else in your life is chaotic or busy, that's like it's like almost like your sanctuary. Like, that's the one thing that's going to be constant. And, like, you have complete control over it. That's what I really like about it.
Now, you're 1 week out from the show, so how different was today's workout than a typical leg workout?
So today, because the last 7 days I've been on extreme low carb, and today was my last kind of little bit of a carb up before going into depletion tomorrow. Even though it's a higher carb day, my body's just worn down from the last week of still keeping the high intensity workout. So today I wasn't, you're not able to push as hard as you normally would be, not able to do as heavy a weight. That's pretty much the biggest difference. Still get 12 to 15 reps on everything, 4 sets of everything, but just the weight, the heaviness is the difference.
Now, a normal leg workout, how many hamstring exercises would you do before you move on to the quads?
Usually 3 or 4. Okay. I'll do a couple of variations. I'll do the standing leg curls, stiff leg deadlifts, lying leg curls, and then seated leg curls. Okay. And then go on to quads and glutes.
Now, when you're doing those leg curls, do you have any tips you could give us for, like, really emphasizing the hams and trying to get out the hips and not bringing in the hips and the lower back as much?
The one thing I've had to learn myself is not worrying so much about pushing heavy weight. It's more about really getting a good squeeze all the way from start to finish in each rep, and not just really focusing on keeping that tension the whole rep, all the way from the bottom all the way up to your glute, keeping the tension and not relying on momentum. And even if you have to lower the weight to do that and also take out the hip movement, don't even worry about it. If that's what you have to do, it's better than ending up hurting yourself or using your calves to overcompensate or your hips to overcompensate.
Now, what was your physique like when you first started training? Were you more thin? Were you a little bit overweight?
I was ridiculously thin. I was borderline underweight, not intentionally. I tried my whole life to gain weight. I just had I had a really fast metabolism, and I could eat anything I wanted, like 4,000 calories a day, and I wouldn't gain a pound. And so it was really hard to kind of get, especially my legs. That's been the biggest issue over the last couple of years since I started training, was putting size on my legs because I've got such a natural, long, lean stature. So
the type of training that put on the muscle then was a little more higher reps, like 12, 15 reps, just really feeling the muscle, getting in touch with the muscle.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I try to think back. When I first started working out, I was more into pushing as heavy a weight as possible. Yeah. And I think starting with that got me the size. Okay. And then now that I'm kind of at the size that I want, not trying to put on too much more, that's when I'm kind of, it's more like my maintenance, just kind of try to keep where I'm at, add a little bit more, but and then focus on the conditioning.
Okay. Now, when you were trying to put on more muscle when you first started training, were you lifting heavier on squats?
Yep. I was definitely, and I was also doing less reps too. Yeah. At the time that I started training, when I first started, getting comfortable squatting and putting on heavy weight, I definitely was only doing like 6 to 8 reps, and then as heavy a weight as I possibly could. And that's what I would always tell everyone who asks me, how do I gain size in my legs? I would always say, just because, I mean, I don't know, it may not work for everyone else, but for me, starting with as heavy weight as I possibly could without hurting myself, obviously, you have to get comfortable with what your body can handle, and then learn to push from there. And then keeping the reps low. That's what I think gained the size for me.
Especially coming from a background where you were underweight and you really had to add muscle in order to compete.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you kind of a perspective, when I first started, I was at maybe 125 pounds, 5'8". I was thin, like really, really thin. No muscle, thin bones. And that first year of bulking, like really trying to gain weight, I got up to about 148, 150. And now leaning out, I step on stage at about 130, 131. Maintain through the year at about 140. So, yeah.
When heavier than you are now, but you had to do that in order to put on the muscle.
Yep, exactly.
I think that's a good point, because I think a lot of women are afraid to lift weights, afraid to lift heavy weights. And if you're competing in figure, you need to have some muscle, and even in bikini, if you come off, if you're starting off really skinny and you have no muscle development, you're just basically starting off training, you have to still lift heavy weights in order to develop that muscle tissue.
Yeah, definitely. I can't stress that enough. So many, and I mean, I kind of thought the same thing when I first started. I was like, oh, I'm going to turn out bulky, but you realize real quick, once you get into it, it is not easy to put on muscle at all. I mean, it was easier for me than I would say, some people that I've seen. Just genetically, I pack on muscle like crazy. I have to be careful not to gain too much sometimes. When I'm on a higher calorie diet, I bulk up really quick. But yeah, I can't stress it enough. It's so much harder to get bulky than what anyone thinks. I mean, I thought it too when I first started out, and I was gaining weight. I had so many people that were like, you're getting too big, you're getting too big. And I knew that, you've got water weight playing a factor in that. I'm not really watching my your macros or whatever you're eating. I didn't keep a strict diet. I upped my calories, and that was pretty much all I stuck to, because I wasn't completely sure if I was even going to start competing at that point. I was just trying to gain size. And then looking back, I'm glad that at the point that I had gotten my heaviest at 150, it was looking bad. It was definitely time to start backing off. I never got chubby or never looked like I was on a 3-year bulk or anything like that. But no, it was definitely, and I'm glad that I got up that heavy, because now it kind of seemed to be the perfect balance, the perfect amount of muscle to be able to cut down and have the right amount of size. Right.
Now, when you were doing that too, did you cut back on the amount of sets and exercises you did?
What was that?
Did you cut back on the amount of exercises? Like, I know today you did probably 4 exercises for hamstrings and 4 exercises for quads. When you were going through the bulking, did you do less exercises?
Yeah. When I was going through the bulking, I would focus on probably a total of 5 exercises, 5 or 6 for the whole workout, and just really focus on using all my energy up on as heavy a weight as I could. And now it's more about really getting a good squeeze on each part of the muscle. And at that time, I was just trying to rep out as heavy a weight as I could, so I wasn't really focused on squeezing certain parts and that mind-muscle connection. I was just trying to push weight.
Well, Devon, we appreciate you joining us for the workout today. I know it's tough. 1 week out, you're low on carbs, but we appreciate you coming out here to the Tampa Powerhouse, or the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, and going through your last leg work with us. And we wish you all the best at the North America next week.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity too.
All right, for John Hansen, this is FloridaPhysique.com at the Powerhouse Gym in Tampa, Florida, with Devon Manny, figure competitor.